So there is a lot of stuff going on that the Luddites don't quite understand. So let me fill you in on some of that. Okay, now the first thing I want to say is I want to talk about usefulness. This was a thing that Jeff Snyder talked about, and he had our good friend Josh come up and talk about his and George's experience going through Argentina, trying to use gold and Bitcoin through their process. And Josh's conclusion was that it's just not useful. And I'll give him that. He's 100% right. And the reason why he's right is because in the early stages of technology, not that many people use it. Just like not that many people used the internet in 1995 either. 10 years later, after it had been out there. Turns out, technology takes time to adopt. Because the old way of doing things works pretty good. And the new way of doing things seems kind of scary. And so it takes time. And so, of course, you're creating a new shift in something that we call network effects. Network effects are very powerful. It's hard to get people to move, and the most powerful network effect in the world is money. And trying to get someone off of a new money, I'm sorry, it's harder than to get people to use the internet. It takes longer than 10 years. It just does. So, let's talk about this. When we look at new technologies, they roll out pretty predictably. Now, what happens is we can look at technology. Let's just use modern technologies. Typically, you would look at adoption. Full adoption would be generally considered 80%. If 80% of the people use them, because not everybody ever will, 80% is typically full adoption. When the telephone was introduced in 1900, it took 60 years to get to 80% adoption. 60 years. Because the telegraph was so much better. I know, it's ridiculous, right? Then the TV came out, 40 years. Then color TVs, 30 years. Then the internet, 20 years. Each one happens faster. They don't happen immediately. So I'm sorry that people in the middle of South America without access to internet and technology don't know what Bitcoin is right now today, and they'd rather take $1. I'm sorry, but to me, it seems a little impatient. And you can look at the glass half full or the glass half empty. I typically like to think of the world as the glass half full. And so there's many metrics, and again, I'm talking off the cuff here, so I don't have my slides, but there is many metrics that I could show of the adoption. For example, we can look at the growth of the databases. How many people are running a full database node? It looks like a parabolic move. We can look at the amount of mining power, the hash power, the computer power that's processing the transactions. It looks like a parabolic move. We can look at the number of Bitcoin wallets or addresses, the people, and we can say, well, how many of them have $1 in them? How many have $10? How many have one Bitcoin? All of them look like a parabolic move. Now, for some reason, I don't understand this. Jeff says that price is not progress. I don't understand that because I believe that price is a signal. And we all learned in elementary school that price goes up based off of supply and what? Oh, demand. So demand means more people are using it. So if the price goes up, what is it telling us? Price is a signal. Okay, now, so we have to understand that things take time. We have to understand that there's an evolutionary process to this. There's also something known as Gresham's law, where good money drives out bad or bad money drives out good, however you want to look at it. There's an inverse one. And do you guys know, a lot of you guys might be old enough to realize this, that pre-1965 quarters and dimes had real silver in them. Anybody know that? And you know that if you can collect those pre-65 quarters and dimes, like you could make some good money, right? Everybody know that? How many quarters and dimes pre-65 are in circulation today? None. Why? Because people take those out and they save those and they spend the junk money. That's the way it works. So is it no wonder that people would rather save in good things and keep spending that dirty fiat that gets printed unlimitedly? Okay. And the thing that we have to understand, back to the word usefulness before I jump into a little bit deeper, is that every new technology, the existing technology is more useful. Example, what the hell do we need electricity for? Candles have been light for 5,000 years. So hard to get electricity for a candle. I have to have all these wires and that big machine. A candle is just way more useful. What the heck do we need this car, automobile thing for. Horses have been transportation for all of humanity. This car is not even useful. There's no gas stations to fill up in. The roads are full of mud. The thing gets stuck all over the place. This car is not useful. The horse is way better. Spoken like a true Luddite.